Today, I carry more than just the years on my shoulders. I carry memories I was forced to bury for too long. I don't say this for drama, nor out of regret. I say it because the time has come to speak the truth few dare to utter. For nearly half my life, I lived behind the towering walls of a convent, beneath the veil of sweet words that masked a ruthless control. Entering those gates was presented as a divine Kalinga blessing. But now, looking back, I understand that what glimmers with holiness can hide secrets darker than anyone imagines. If you're curious how this happened, how a life of devotion became a prison, then listen closely. This story will shake you in ways you can't yet fathom. My name is Arya, and this is my truth. The broken girl I was young when I lost my mother. Just 12 years old, drowning in a grief so heavy it stole my voice. The only hand that reached out belonged to a priest, who claimed to know what was best for me. "The world is cruel, child," he said. "In the convent, you'll be safe." So at 18, I left behind my home, my father, my dreams, everything. I stepped through those gates, veiled in faith, surrendering my soul to a life that promised peace, but delivered silence, not the quiet of prayer, but a suffocating silence where questions were rebellion and emotions were weakness. The days blurred into one another. We rose before dawn to the toll of bells, knelt on icy marble, recited prayers until our minds went numb. Obedience was the highest virtue. "Do not question, only serve," the elder sisters would say, their voices honeyed but their eyes sharp. As knives, for years, I obeyed. I became what they wanted, a dutiful sister, meek and submissive. But inside, something gnawed at me, a restlessness I couldn't silence. The first crack happened on a frigid night. As I lay in my narrow cell, yes, we called our rooms cells. A sound pierced the quiet, a muffled whimper, soft and out of place. A baby's cry. My heart lurched. I crept to the door, my hand trembling on the handle. The sound came from a forbidden corridor, one only the Mother Superior was allowed to enter. Part of me screamed to turn back. The other couldn't unhear that fragile, desperate sound. I knew the punishment for disobedience, but something in that cry pulled me forward like a magnet when I pushed the door open and stepped into the darkened hall. I had no idea that single step would unravel a centuries-old lie, one that would change my life forever. The hidden truth: the corridor was long, its high walls swallowing even the echo of my footsteps. Flickering candlelight cast jagged shadows, as if the flames themselves feared to burn with each step. The crying grew louder, more real. My pulse roared in my ears, loud enough to betray me before I could. I had never been in this wing. It housed the convent's archives, records, decrees, secrets only the highest-ranking sisters could access. But tonight, it wasn't curiosity that drove me. It was life. At the end of the hall, a door stood ajar, light spilling from within. The cries came from there. I held my breath and peered inside, and what I saw nearly buckled my knees. In the center of the room stood a small wooden cradle, its white linens rumpled. A baby lay there, squirming, its cries thin with hunger, and beside it, her back to me, stood Sister Bernadette, rocking the child in silence. But she wasn't wearing her habit. She was dressed in plain clothes, her hair loose, a violation of every rule. My blood turned to ice. Sister Bernadette was the convent's disciplinarian, the one who recited regulations with steel in her voice. Yet here she was, tears streaking her face as she cradled the infant with trembling hands. I shouldn't have been there. I should have turned and fled. But before I could move, the floor creaked beneath me. She turned. Our eyes locked. "You weren't supposed to see this, Arya," she whispered, her voice stripped of its usual authority. "Go back to your cell. Forget what you saw. It's better for you, for all of us." I obeyed. But that night, sleep never came. The unraveling the next morning, everything appeared normal. Almost a folded note waited on my pillow. Its message clear: if you continue, the silence will end. A threat, a warning that even in solitude I was watched. From then on, I noticed things I'd once ignored. The sudden disappearances of younger sisters, locked doors that never opened, footsteps in the halls long after curfew. Then came the night I found the unlocked gate behind the convent. Where the old storage building stood, the heavy chains usually securing the door hung loose. A trail of small footprints led into the garden, bare feet pressed into damp earth, and beside them a scrap of white fabric, a baby's cloth, still damp. My hands shook as I picked it up. The convent didn't allow visitors, let alone infants. So where had this child come from? And how many others were hidden behind these walls? The secret in the attic, the answers came from a place I never expected: the attic. A midnight note slipped under my door, led me there. "If you want the truth about Sister Antonia, come alone at 3 a.m. Antonia, the name from the forbidden records. The sister who'd tried to escape the attic was a graveyard of broken saints and dust-covered boxes. But in the far corner, beneath a moth-eaten sheet, I found a chair, a veil, and a small chest. Inside it, a black notebook labeled Accounts of Silence. Its pages were filled with handwritten confession stories of pregnant girls brought to the convent. Their babies taken, their voices erased. One entry stood out. Sister Antonia, attempted escape. Never seen again. Then, a noise. A shadow moved between the boxes. I wasn't alone. The woman in the dark, from the darkness emerged a figure I never thought I'd see. Sister Julia, the novice who'd vanished days earlier. Her face was gaunt, her eyes hollow. "You found the ledger," she breathed. "Now you know." She told me of the meditation room cells where rebellious sisters were taken, broken, and returned hollow. Of the relocated infants, of the ledger's list of names, each one a life erased. And then she handed me a key. "This opens the old storage room, the one they sealed years ago." The key was heavy, its bow engraved with 2 words, Chamber of Sorrows. The final revelation, what we found inside, shattered everything. Rows of empty cribs, medical records with cold clinical notes, infant transferred, patient sedated, relocation complete, and the letters, dozens of them stuffed into urns, each a plea for mothers who'd been silenced. But the deepest horror lay beneath the floorboards, a small iron chest, its lock rusted shut. Inside, a stack of documents stamped with a crest, a lamb with closed eyes. The convent's darkest secret wasn't just the stolen children, it was the money, the adoptions sold to the highest bidder, the bishops, the politicians, the wealthy families who paid to keep their sins buried. And at the bottom of the chest, a single photograph, a woman in a habit, her face bruised but defiant. Sister Antonia. Alive. The truth? Well, this story doesn't end with a miracle. It ends with a choice. We took the evidence to a journalist, a man who'd once tried to expose the truth and been silenced. This time, the world listened. The article ran under the headline, "The Daughters of Silence, the Convent's Stolen Children," and then, the unthinkable happened. Sister Bernadette came to us. Not to threaten, but to confess. "I helped hide it all," she said, tears streaming. "But I won't anymore." She handed us a map to another building, another grave. Because the convent's walls weren't the only ones hiding the truth. Epilogue. The silence breakers. If you've heard this story and felt something stir inside, if you've ever been silenced, doubted, or told your pain doesn't matter, no, the truth doesn't scream. It waits, but once it speaks, no power on earth can make it quiet again. My name is Arya, and this is only the beginning.